Welcome to Ozarks Fox News at 9. Thanks for being with us. I'm Jennifer Abreu.
And I'm John Adams. We start off tonight with your top headlines. These stories are real, new now. Tariffs proposed by the Trump administration against Mexico could take effect in a matter of days. President Trump says the tariffs are an incentive to get Mexico to help prevent migrants from reaching the U.S.-Mexico border. Mexican officials say they're doing all they can right now, and those tariffs would make it harder for them to help.
In an interview with Piers Morgan on Good Morning Britain, President Trump was asked if he believes in climate change. The president said he believes there's a change in weather and that Prince Charles understands where he stands on climate change. Discussing gun laws in the U.S., Mr. Trump says he would like to see silencers banned.
And speaking of the border, it's another month and another record number of migrants attempting to cross into the country from Mexico. According to Customs and Border Protection, officers encountered more than 144,000 migrants in May, including thousands of unaccompanied children.
Making local news now, the city of Springfield could soon raise the age to purchase tobacco products.
The Springfield-Greene County Health Department is pushing to raise the legal age from 18 to 21. Our Madison Heber is here with more. Madison.
John and Jen, I talked with both the health department and a local shop to see how this could affect business.
The 18 sign will change to under 21, no tobacco. That's it.
1 in 5 deaths in the United States are related to, to tobacco use.
Clay Goddard, the director of health at the Springfield and Greene County Health Department, says while many people think of tobacco use as just cigarettes, the ordinance will also include e-cigarettes and vape pens.
I think there's a perception that e-cigarettes are safe. 63% of Juul users, which is a popular brand, didn't even realize there was nicotine in that device. So I think e-cigarettes is an issue that we're thinking about, and those would be covered by this ordinance as well. Really, the goal is to reduce negative health outcomes from tobacco use.
But the owner of Puff and Stuff in North Springfield says raising the age may not do the trick.
They'll make them mad, definitely, but there's so many illegal things on the streets they can still buy. You can't stop it.
He says if the ordinance passes, there will be at least one negative impact, but it can also be good.
It's going to hurt the business, but it's going to help your health,
Goddard says if you raise the legal age to buy tobacco, the number of people ages 18 to 21 that smoke tobacco will reduce.
I think it's hard to defend selling these products to people when the data shows, that tobacco use is harmful and that youth initiation, if you limit that, can reduce tobacco rate. It's important because we want people to live longer, healthier, happier lives, and we believe that tobacco is an insidious product, and it's one that you can make a big difference if you can lower your smoking rates.
Now, Madison, obviously there's still a process for this. When could this possibly be passed?
Yeah, Jen, the City Council is set to hear the ordinance June 17th, and they'll vote 2 weeks later. If passed, you'll see the ordinance implemented after 60 days of the vote.
So still about 3 months. We'll keep following this story. Thanks, Madison.
Well, new at 9 tonight, police have found a man wanted in a shooting that happened today in Northeast Springfield. A 32-year-old man was arrested in Webster County. He's been identified, but we're not releasing his name because he hasn't been formally charged at this time. Police were called to this home around 11 this morning in the 1700 block, of North Oak Grove. They were looking for a man who shot a woman nearby. After several hours, officers eventually pushed an armored truck to push open they used an armored truck to push open the door. Police found the woman who had been shot. She has non-life-threatening injuries. Police say this was a domestic violence situation. And speaking of domestic violence, a class today at Mercy Hospital aimed to identify those situations before they worsen. And our Jesse Inman is here with a wrap on what happened there. Jesse.
Yeah, so today men and women from different organizations gathered to talk about one of the toughest parts of those situations, and when they're not directly involved in those incidents as well. And that's how to intervene before someone is seriously injured. Now, I talked to Janice Gerke. She's a victims advocate, and she also is part of the Springfield Sexual Assault Task Force. She helped lead the class and told me that people were able to address how to help people without getting someone hurt.
maybe you can wait until she or he is away from that person and just say, hey, do you need some help? Maybe you're watching. Maybe just the fact that you're watching makes them aware that somebody is paying attention, maybe making that victim know that they aren't alone.
Now, when it comes to children, the signs may not be as obvious, and I talked to Mickey Lane today with Child Advocacy Center. She says that things like emotional abuse and neglect may not leave marks, but there are some other things to look for.
So you're looking at more like the behaviors of the adults that provide supervision or care, how they speak to the child, how they treat the child, but then also how the child may behave around that person.
Now, Jesse, if people want more information on how they can intervene in some of these situations, how can they find that?
Right, they can reach out to the people who held this class today. It was held by the Community Green Dot of Springfield, and you can visit their Facebook page. That's Community Green Dot of Springfield. They'll be happy to help and guide people through any of those tough questions on how to help victims of domestic abuse without directly intervening in those.
All right, Jesse, thank you. Well, happening now, more vandalism taking place in Lawrence County. Vandals broke into the Aurora public swimming pool this week just as the pool opened for the summer season. The city manager says they jumped the fence and tossed furniture into the pool, slashed several holes into the new city floaty, you can see it right there, and caused damage totaling $4,000. The pool is remaining open and new security measures are going into place. You may recall over the weekend, vandals damaged and destroyed about 50 headstones dating back to the 1800s at Lee's Cemetery near Verona. That's not far from Aurora.
In regional news now, Senator Bernie Sanders was in Northwest Arkansas today, putting pressure on Walmart to pay its workers more and treat them better.
Frankly, the American people are sick and tired of subsidizing the greed of some of the largest and most profitable corporations in this country. They are also outraged by the grotesque level of income and wealth inequality in America, as demonstrated by the CEO of Walmart making 1,000 times more than the average Walmart employee.
Senator Sanders was speaking at the annual Walmart shareholders meeting. He criticized the company for paying its workers what he describes as starvation wages and urged Walmart to pay its workers at least $15 per hour. He introduced a shareholder proposal suggesting hourly associates have a seat on the company's board and that the company strengthen its sexual harassment procedures. The proposal don't have any chance of passing because Walmart's founders' descendants own about 50% of its voting stock.
Well, in educational news now, school bus inspections for districts across the state were released by the Highway Patrol. Their annual inspection showed good grades for many local school districts. Here's a look at a few in our area. Springfield received a 93% approval rate, and Nixa, congratulations to Nixa, 100% approval for all of their district's buses. If you would like to see all of the ratings given to any district in the state, we have a link available on our website. That's, of course, ozarksfirst.com.
We have some good news for you now. A pit bull in Lee Summit is living his best life after escaping an abusive household about 3 years ago.
The pup broke through a door and a window only to be shot in the face when he made it out of that abusive home. But now he's celebrating his 5th birthday with his new family and has even become an Instagram sensation.
It's just been amazing, this whole journey, you know. I just wanted to take cute pictures of my dog, and it's turned into so much more.
Lucky has tens of thousands of followers and is giving people something to talk about. Tuesday was a celebration of life, full of balloons, presents, and most importantly, tacos. Every week, his viral Taco Tuesday videos get millions of views, so what better way to celebrate a birthday than with tacos? Lucky's family said the dog's abusers never faced any charges. They've started their own rescue and a nonprofit aimed at bringing animal abusers to justice.
What a great story. Well, turning now to our weather here locally, it's still kind of muggy out there tonight, Jamie.
Yeah, that warmth and mugging is playing a role overnight tonight as it looks like it'll continue to fuel showers and thunderstorms that are building toward the south and southwest into the Ozarks. More on that and the wet pattern that will continue into this weekend in your forecast after this break.